Hello and welcome to the show. This week we're going to look at inflation, the Bitcoin price, and a quick mention on the Lunawalla app and Casta, which is launching today. First, please follow us on Twitter at Scotsman Crypto and hit the like button and subscribe so you get notifications when we release new videos. Okay, so first up is the Lunawalla app. With the Lunawalla app, you can get £10 in free Bitcoin when you sign up, and that's free for anyone in the UK. From there, you can then exchange it into XRP, Litecoin, Ethereum, or you can just hold it, and that can start your journey into crypto. So for anyone wanting to get into crypto, the Lunawalla app's where to start. Okay, so I saw a tweet the other day from Jason Dean, who, if you don't follow, you should follow, and it was about inflation. And what occurred to me is people don't actually understand what inflation is. CPI have said inflation is currently 5.1% through November. So what that means is a basket of goods that last year you went and bought is 5% more expensive this year than last year. So if you're not getting a 5% pay rise at work every year, your purchasing power over time is getting less. Now that basket of goods, in my opinion, isn't correct. The CPI is way manipulating that number, and the real number is actually probably around 12%. I don't know any companies that's handing out a 12% pay rise. So what caused inflation? Well, the Bank of England are saying that it's caused by the pandemic, supply chain issues, and rising fuel costs. But no one's admitting that actually furlough, lack of monetary discipline, and the fact that we were paying people literally to sit at home, stop producing goods, stop going out to work, but paying them the same amount of money is what's caused this massive inflation that we're now facing, and I reckon we'll face for the next 10 years. Most people's monthly expenses went down. People weren't paying for travel, they weren't paying for childcare, they weren't eating out, they weren't drinking out, they weren't doing all these activities that take up most of their income, but they were still getting paid the exact same amount of money to sit at home. So of course we've got massive issues now with goods rising. You know, the cost of a used car, I think, is up 40% this year. So real CPI inflation is going to get much worse before it gets better. Inflation basically hurts everyone, especially those that don't have performing assets. And what I mean by that is gold, Bitcoin, or property, stocks in decent companies. Most people don't have that. So when goods rise, their income doesn't rise with it, so they have to sacrifice some things. You see pensioners not being able to pay for fuel to fuel their homes. You see people having to go to food banks, and the rise of food banks because of this. That's what inflation is causing, and the only way to avoid that is have these assets. But property, stocks, there's a high entry mark for that, so most people don't have the money to sit around to invest in a second home or a third home in order to make some passive income. And that's where Bitcoin becomes so effective. You can buy Bitcoin for as little as £5 on the Lunawalla app, and if you use the code in the description, you get a £10 free. Bitcoin's annual return over the last 4 years is 94%, and it's limited supply, so no one can come along and just print more money like the governments around the world are doing right now. You look at the Turkish lira, massive inflation. Venezuela's had over 200% inflation. Zimbabwe had massive inflation. People in the West seem to think this isn't coming to them, but it is, and it's going to crush them even harder than these poor countries. As Bitcoin matures, it's going to get more and more scarce. There is only 21 million that will ever be created, but what happens when Google or Apple or Microsoft announce that they own Bitcoin? The price is going to go mad. Once a country, El Salvador are already invested in Bitcoin. What happens when a G20 nation buys Bitcoin, a Brazil, or even Turkey, for example? What happens when more and more nations get involved? That scarcity is really going to drive the price through the roof. Bitcoin's currently a $1 trillion market cap in 13 years. It's got quicker adoption than the internet. Imagine what's going to happen in the next 10 years. So the easiest way to hedge against inflation is buy Bitcoin, dollar cost average, and keep focused on the long-term picture. Don't try and make money in a day. Focus on the long-term future. If you want to know more, hit the like button, more videos coming up this week. Hopefully we can look at passive ways of making some money. I'll finish with this one last thought. If someone offered you the chance to go back to 1999 and purchase Amazon stock back then, would you do it? Of course you would. Look at the size of the company Amazon's become just now. And if you look at the news, people are saying Bitcoin will never catch on, it'll never last, it's a bubble. Well, guess what? They were saying the same things about Amazon back in the day. They were saying, why would you go online and buy things that you could get in the shop? Well, guess what? Look at the size of Amazon now. Next up, we're going to look at the Bitcoin chart. Okay, so looking at Bitcoin price, we can see that we were in this downward trend here, and we seem to have formed some form of support around 45,500. Hopefully we're going to play out this W bottom pattern that we seem to be playing out here. I'll just highlight it on the screen. So we come down here, tested support at 45.5, bounced up, bounced back, and we're looking to play out another wave up in the coming days. Now, this could take a few days to play out. What we could also see is that we just range between these two levels here, 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 have one wick down, test this purple box here before the final lift off. And that would give us the liquidity that we need in order to see that move. As you can see, there's no volume in the market today. So that's kind of what we're looking to see play out over the coming days. It could take weeks, but the longer we're in this period is just hold your trades. If we drop below this level, it would be a good short opportunity down to 41, 42,000. But I don't see us staying in this region long. It'll be a wick down and then off, and we should blast through these resistances pretty quickly after that. Well, that's us. Thanks very much for joining. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button, and tomorrow's video will all be about altcoins and staking.